I don't like this any more than you do. But I have no reason to believe I'll ever see you in your office. And I must have an answer, and a public one if possible, to this question. Why do you prevent me from doing my work?
Miss Kenny, I do not prevent you doing your work. It's the authorities.
At your request.
Isn't that putting it rather rudely?
Do you know how to put it politely?
Ladies and gentlemen, since we cannot avoid this interruption, perhaps we can make use of it. As open-minded men of science, we do not reject ideas without examination. Now, Miss Kenny's ideas were familiar to me 20 years ago. I even permitted a general practitioner, Dr. MacDonald of Toowoomba, to test them with very sad results. Nobody who reads the newspapers in which Miss Kenny's name appears more and more frequently can be unaware of her existence, but they may be unfamiliar with her ideas. Now, how many of you here know anything of the so-called Kenny treatment? Miss Kenny, would you like to tell this class how ignorant I am and how dangerous the orthodox treatment of this disease is?
I certainly would, but I don't think you're ignorant, only pig-headed.
Oh, come down here, please. Come over here. Speak freely. Explain your theory.
Well, the fundamental difference between us is which muscle is sick.
Go on.
Dr. Brack, I didn't expect to find you so tolerant. This is the first time in 20 years I've been given a hearing before orthopedic men.
Yes, Miss Kenny, go on.
Well, Dr. Brack considers that one muscle is paralyzed and the opposing muscle is healthy. I say the opposing muscle is sick well, call it a muscle condition. Now, the first thing to do when you find a muscle condition like that is to apply moist heat and reduce the muscle condition. The first thing to do is to keep the muscles relaxed. If you put them in splints, you only make the muscle condition worse.
Yes, that would be quite reasonable, if your concept were correct. Come to the convalescent stage.
Well, after the spasm is...
Spasm?
Yes, spasm. After the spasm is relieved, you find the muscles look perfectly normal. But they are not. They're alienated, incoordinated, and they need re-education.
There is no such thing as spasm and infantile paralysis. Incoordination, re-education, alienation. You'll find that word in the divorce court, not in medical science. These are not scientific terms. They're gibberish. You invented them.
Yes, for a new concept. New ideas need new words. The words I use describe the things I see.
Well, how is it that we don't see them?
Because you've got a book in front of your eyes. Whole libraries, words. If you were interested in what I mean, you wouldn't quibble about the words I use.
Without the strict and careful use of words, there could be no science. We can't waste any more time if you express yourself in terms that have no meaning.
They have meaning for me. I call it spasm. I treat spasm.
And you get cures. Isn't that right?
Lots of doctors have tried to catch me on that one. I don't claim to have a cure. But I get improvements, Doctor, even with your failures. I don't have a chance to show what I could do if I started where you do, in the acute stage. 20 years ago in the bush, I had that chance. I had 6 acute cases, and they all recovered. But ever since then, over and over, I've heard the same thing whenever a patient showed improvement. He didn't have polio.
Have you finished?
I'll never finish until you stop doing that.
We will never abandon immobilization. In my opinion, a patient should be encased in plaster.
To me, that's terrifying.
I can show you patients whose bodies are perfectly straight as the result of using plaster.
Yes, straight and rigid. There are thousands lying out in the graveyard that have just as much chance of recovering the use of their legs.
Miss Kenny, you're speaking in front of a patient.
I've tried to speak to you elsewhere. And hasn't he a right to hear? It's his life, not yours or mine.
You're making a very serious mistake.
I've made lots of mistakes, Doctor. Do you know anyone who hasn't? Are any of us infallible? You don't need me to tell you that medical ideas change. Your fathers bled their patients for everything from a fever to a cold. Do you do it anymore? Harvey changed a few ideas. So did Pasteur.
Do you compare yourself with Pasteur?
Certainly not. But I wish he were here.
So do I, Miss Kenny. He had a cure for hydrophobia.
The only thing that makes that laughter tolerable, Dr. Brack, is that I know you're sincere. But sincerity doesn't excuse a shut mind or the cruelty to which that stubborn righteousness subjects thousands of children.
Luckily, the fate of these children is not in the hands of emotional quacks. As long as we are entrusted with the responsibility of authority, we will never permit you to tamper recklessly with their lives. It's a dangerous thing to traffic in human affliction.
You can keep me from treating an acute case, Dr. Brack, but not from the hopeless ones, the ones you've given up. Oh, if you need any more braces, steel corsets, or other instruments of medieval torture, I can send them to you. I've taken plenty off your patients.
Miss Kenny. I think you should be very careful before you consider this matter settled. To become a nurse, you took an oath. Do you remember the last paragraph?
With loyalty will I endeavor to aid the physician in his work.
Instead of aiding physicians, you have the arrogance to try to teach them their profession. In the opinion of many doctors, you are no longer a nurse.
You can't dispose of me that way, Dr. Brack. I've given up too much for the right to wear a nurse's uniform.